The story begins with blood and rain. On that desolate grassy plain, a fallen warrior lies in a pool of blood, as if the gears of fate have reversed at this very moment. Cutting back to the present, the battle has just ended. Su Miaoqing sheathes her blade, teasing her junior brother with a hint of arrogance, though her eyes betray her approval and curiosity. Xiao Yifeng scratches his head, playing the fool and attributing his victory to dumb luck. Before his senior sister can dig deeper, they transform into streaks of light and pierce the sky, leaving the defeated traitor collapsing behind them. Amidst the lightning-scorched wilderness, the traitor, claiming to be from the Green Mountain sect, lets out a roar of desperate rage. To his dying breath, he cannot comprehend how these seemingly weak disciples possessed such terrifying hidden techniques. A ruthless glint, unbefitting his age, flashes in Xiao Yifeng's eyes as he sternly lectures his senior sister on the rule of destroying the body and traces. With the loose ends tied up, their sword lights pierce through the clouds, heading straight for their next, more dangerous target. The view shifts to the boundless ocean, where shimmering waves surround two lonely rock formations. Beneath this seemingly peaceful azure sky and blue sea, something unusual is brewing. Hovering in midair, Xiao Yifeng searches for the location, relying on his past life's memories. Suddenly, Su Miaoqing cries out in surprise as the sky ahead transforms, a cluster of eerie thunderclouds shrouding the sea surface. As they draw closer, an oppressive force washes over them. Purple thunder cascades like a waterfall onto a solitary island, where an ancient tree, swaying amidst the lightning, appears both mysterious and dangerous. Seeing the rare treasure, Su Miaoqing excitedly tries to move forward, but Xiao Yifeng abruptly blocks her path. The next second, a massive bolt of wild thunder crashes down, the immense shockwave causing the entire sea to tremble. A majestic order to leave resonates in his mind, and Xiao Yifeng instantly judges the entity to be at least a nascent soul realm demon. Acting decisively, he clasps his hands in a respectful bow and pulls his senior sister to retreat. This is an existence they absolutely cannot afford to provoke. The two transform into streaks of light and flee at top speed, not daring to look back until they are far away. Su Miaoqing rejoices that the great demon showed mercy, but Xiao Yifeng knows well that it didn't attack only because it is facing a life and death crisis of its own. As expected, the solitary island shakes violently, revealing itself to be a colossal giant turtle rising from the water. The thunderclouds above gather into a massive vortex. The true heavenly tribulation has begun. Crossing the tribulation? This is the most heart-stopping moment in the cultivation world. Even the chibi senior sister stares in shock, as if reminding us that the real show is just getting started. Chapter 42 begins. Beneath the apocalyptic thunderstorm, the giant turtle roars at the heavens, not only fighting the celestial might, but declaring war on fate itself. Xiao Yifeng finally sees this earth-shattering scene clearly. Standing high in the sky looking down, Xiao Yifeng realizes that the ring-shaped ruins he saw in his past life were actually the remains of this giant turtle after it failed its tribulation. The weight of history instantly presses upon his heart. The giant turtle gathers violent, thunderous power in its mouth, preparing for a fight to the death. Xiao Yifeng's gaze sharpens. Since he arrived earlier in this life, perhaps this time, the ending will be rewritten by him. Two forces collide violently in midair, exploding into brilliant light. Seeing the giant turtle block the lightning strike, Su Miaoqing breathes a sigh of relief, naively thinking that crossing the tribulation isn't that difficult. Too naive, Xiao Yifeng coldly shatters his senior sister's illusion. This is merely the first bolt of lightning. The stronger the demonic beast, the more terrifying the tribulation sent by the heavens. The true despair is yet to come. As if to verify his words, violent purple thunder cascades down like divine punishment, ruthlessly bombarding the giant turtle's defensive formation. The turtle roars in agony within the array, struggling on the edge of life and death with every passing second. Between heaven and earth, only thunder and roars remain, a struggle between life and the heavenly Tao. Su Miaoqing watches with cold sweat on her forehead, simultaneously awed by the spectacular scene and trembling deeply for the fragile life before her. Dark clouds roil as a massive white divine bird breaks through the sky, wrapped in red energy. Xiao Yifeng and Su Miaoqing stand on their sword, nerves taut, ready to strike. A false alarm. The bird isn't targeting them. It dives violently, talons aiming straight for the blue beast enveloped in purple lightning below. A deafening boom. The bird's talons clash against the beast's shield, unleashing a terrifying shockwave that sweeps across the churning sea. Misfortune piles up as a devastating purple lightning bolt pierces the clouds, hammering the beast's teetering rune shield. It can't hold. Under Su Miaoqing's shocked gaze, the damaged shield shatters completely, and ruthless lightning swallows the divine beast's body. An agonized roar echoes through the sky as the purple pillar of lightning pierces down, pinning the blue body to the sea amidst exploding blood and spray. The lightning fades, but the beast hasn't fallen. Instead, it erupts in desperation. Eyes wide with rage, it gathers energy and roars a counterattack at the circling bird. Seeing its opponent at the end of its strength, the divine bird flaps its wings, transforming into a silver streak as it dives again with murderous intent. Amidst the chaos, Su Miaoqing realizes in horror that the creature fighting the bird is a giant green snake growing from the turtle's back. Is this the legendary turtle-snake union? Even from a distance, Xiao Yifeng senses a lethal threat and immediately sets up a defensive formation. Confused but tense, Su Miaoqing can only watch the battle unfold. The heavens are enraged. The two entangled beasts are now seen as a single target, and a terrifying tribulation brews in the clouds, forming a crystalline lightning dragon looking down upon them. Meanwhile, in a distant dark sea, a mysterious green-haired elf seems to sense something. The name, Lager, that stirs an unknown destiny. Back on the battlefield, the romantic cherry blossoms are but an illusion. The reality is the green snake fighting desperately, forced back by the divine bird and red currents. Refusing to yield, the green snake's horn glows red as it soars upward, attempting a head-on collision with the destructive lightning dragon, triggering an earth-shattering explosion. As the smoke clears, Su Miaoqing watches helplessly as the massive figure loses its life force. Crashing like a meteor into the mountains below, a wave of desolation rising in her heart. As the storm subsides, the two land on the devastated terrain. With a solemn expression, Xiao Yifeng leads his senior sister toward the broken body of the green snake lying in a pool of blood. Even the ancient tree is destroyed. Xiao Yifeng sighs at the debris. Su Miaoqing looks at the dying snake with pity. Its injuries are too severe. It won't last much longer. Just then, Xiao Yifeng feels a tremor deep in his soul. This snake shares a fated connection with him. His gaze sharpens. Perhaps there's still a way to save it. Without hesitation, he channels his spiritual power, guiding the immense with spirit energy from the tree's remains and infusing it continuously into the giant snake's body. A miracle! Wrapped in green light, the snake hisses, regaining its vitality. But before Su Miaoqing can cheer, the sky once again rumbles with an ominous thunder. Thunder rages as the dark clouds threaten to collapse. Su Miaoqing urges a retreat, but Xiao Yifeng looks up through the deafening roar. 3 stages have passed. The final tribulation is the true test of life and death. Lightning tears the sky as high-tier beasts clash. Su Miaoqing is filled with despair, but Xiao Yifeng opens his palm to reveal a glowing blue phantom. Not necessarily. He whispers, a confident smile playing on his lips. The scene shifts to Xiao Yifeng dealing with a raging chibi soul. Amidst a blend of cherry blossoms and gloomy skies, the humor of having a big-shot wife makes the looming crisis feel strangely absurd. Tension returns as a streak of black energy shrieks through the air. It's coming, the girl cries. Xiao Yifeng grips his artifact with a grim expression, knowing that if he doesn't act now, his senior sister will be in grave danger. The blue-haired second senior brother steps forward, a sapphire array blooming in the night to block the white bird's strike. Holding a green flame, his tone is calm, yet heavy with authority. Fellow cultivator, do you not plan to leave? The white bird flees with a desperate cry. Second senior brother hides his edge, modestly crediting the tribulation for his victory. Faced with his junior's praise and banter, a slight smile reveals their deep bond and mutual trust. Yet after the warmth, Su Miaoqing sinks in a silent grievance. Tears well in her eyes, her heart heavy. Why? Does mother still not trust me? Her sense of rejection feels painfully sharp against the gloomy backdrop. Thunder rumbles as second senior brother sternly warns of the risks. Xiao Yifeng nods repeatedly, but his gaze pierces the rain toward the swirling storm. The pressure of the tribulation returns. A grand destiny is brewing within the light. A colossal thunderbolt strikes, shaking the earth and sending debris flying. The 3 move through the fire behind a blue shield. As the dust settles, a massive, broken green snake appears amidst the desolate ruins, breathing pain. Did the tribulation fail? Just as they sigh in regret, Su Miaoqing points at the head. From the broken carcass, a small white snake emerges, hissing. It is a miracle of rebirth, life erupting from the jaws of death. The white snake bites Xiao Yifeng's finger, pain exploding with blue light. Amidst the shock, second senior brother sees the truth. Though its power has fallen, its potential is limitless. Xiao Yifeng looks at the creature with a vow to protect. With the crisis over, Xiao Yifeng calmly hides his wound. He points to a faintly glowing dead tree to shift their attention. Its gnarled branches look unusual among the ruins, as if silently whispering a buried ancient secret. Second senior brother is drawn to the sacred tree, lost in thought. Meanwhile, Xiao Yifeng sheds his tension, lounging with a playful, cynical smile. This sharp contrast suggests he's already plotting something interesting. A rare, sacred tree root. Second senior brother's exclamation breaks the silence. No one expected such a treasure to be hidden beneath the dead exterior. The discovery floods the gloomy air with a sudden light of hope. To save it, we must get it to the sect's spirit pond. Second senior brother says urgently. A 3-day round trip means leaving his juniors unprotected. Urgency settles in. Every second of delay risks the treasure's life. Don't worry, we won't cause trouble, Xiao Yifeng promises. Su Miaoqing smiles innocently. Despite his worry, second senior brother transforms into a blue streak and soars away, his departure both resolute and lingering. As second senior brother vanishes, Xiao Yifeng's honest smile turns cunning. Listen to him? That's no way to cultivate. He grabs Su Miaoqing, and like wild horses, they begin their rebellious journey. The lens shifts to the boundless sea, where a grand fleet cuts through the waves. Dragon flags snap in the wind as Taoist Baiken stands at the helm, eyes sharp. This solemn aura signals another storm brewing in the Yuan Hai waters. Your Highness, Yuan Hai is ahead. I'm no longer the prince. Xiao Yifeng dons a solemn robe, his eyes deep as the ocean. Facing the approaching cultivators, he remains calm. A new identity, a new mission. His path to change fate has just begun. Between the azure sky and blue sea, two flying cultivators break the calm. Facing a sudden invitation from a strange fleet, Xiao Yifeng clasps his hands in polite inquiry, though his eyes hold a hidden scrutiny. In contrast to Xiao Yifeng's calm, an exhausted Su Miaoqing cheers and eagerly lands on the deck. Accepting Zhang Tianji's thoughtful arrangement, they go with the flow, stepping into what might be a well-disguised trap. In the shadows of the cabin, the crown prince and his advisor quietly assess the value of these heaven-sent reinforcements. Oblivious, Su Miaoqing marvels at the hospitality, unaware that their fate is already being weighed on a scale. There is no courtesy without a motive. Xiao Yifeng coldly pierces through the facade of kindness, yet decides to play along. As night falls, 6 massive ships cut through the darkness, while inside, the crown prince frowns, sensing an approaching storm. A sudden alarm tears through the night sky. The scream of enemy attack throws the entire fleet into chaos. The peaceful voyage collapses instantly, the air thick with suffocating urgency. The warmth beneath the cherry blossoms contrasts sharply with the perilous stormy sea. This journey is destined to weave together romance and carnage. No matter how rough the waves, the bond they share remains unbreakable. On the pitch-black sea, the celestial dragon fleet finds itself surrounded. The white-haired elder attempts to shout them down, but the only response is a sky full of glowing arrows, whistling lethally as they tear through the air. Facing the rain of arrows, powerful water magic instantly forms a massive vortex barrier. The elder bristles with rage, yet the enemy's ultimatum pierces through the storm. Hand over the princess, or no one survives. Traitors! Crown Prince Tianji's eyes widen with fury, his roar drowning out the thunder. Refusing to await death, he waves his hand to command the attack, vowing to carve a bloody path through this desperate situation. Outside, the battle rages, the barrier trembling under the barrage of arrows. Yet, separated by just a wall, Xiao Yifeng and Su Miaoqing sit calmly sipping tea, observing the chaos as if it were mere fireworks. Xiao Yifeng decides to hold back and observe. But this momentary peace is quickly shattered. Exploding oil barrels stain the night sky red, and desperate screams rise as the battle situation instantly collapses. Leave it to me. The silent Taoist finally acts, stepping into the void with runes swirling around him. With a deafening boom, brilliant magical light descends like divine punishment, forcibly reversing the tide of defeat. Desperate soldiers erupt in cheers as the elder stands beneath the dark clouds, gathering the water essence of heaven and earth into a massive, roaring water dragon. The violent elemental force rampages through the night sky, awing the battlefield. Yet, two fists cannot fight four hands. The elder pants heavily from his wounds, his eyes filled with pain at his brother's betrayal. Facing the enemy's mockery and overwhelming numbers, Crown Prince Tianji's eyes turn resolute, intending to sacrifice himself to save the others. Go back. The Crown Prince's angry shout cannot hide his inner anxiety. The frail Princess Yu steps out, supported by her maid. Unwilling to burden her family any longer, her pale face is etched with a desolate acceptance of fate. Facing his sister's plea to sacrifice herself, Crown Prince Tianji responds with angry refusal. Since negotiations have failed, the mysterious figure in the dark loses patience. Flames rise from his palm as he orders everything to be reduced to ashes. A terrifying fire phoenix soars into the sky, engulfing the warships in a sea of flames. Resistance seems insignificant before such absolute power. The Crown Prince stares in horror at the destructive fire, realizing that the true god of death has arrived. This tragedy stems from the decline of the Celestial Dragon Dynasty. Years of continuous war have drained the last ounce of vitality from this ancient kingdom. The once glorious dynasty now struggles for its last breath amidst the mud of blood and fire. Seeking peace, the old emperor married the enemy princess, unwittingly inviting a wolf into the house. As the emperor fell gravely ill and paralyzed, power slipped away, and the ambitious empress seized control of the court, pushing the kingdom into the abyss. The flashback ends. On the rainy pier, the crown prince bitterly reveals the truth to Xiao Yifeng. The cultivators once loyal to the royal family have turned against them. Now, they are nothing more than homeless, wandering ghosts. Under the stormy night sky, the cloaked figures drop their pretense. One unfurls a scroll, glowing with eerie green runes, summoning a sinister silhouette of twisted trees, an omen of awakening forbidden power. The painting of 10,000 trees? The old man gasps in horror. With a cold sneer, the hooded figure unleashes a burst of cyan energy, weaving countless black branches into a colossal net that descends to engulf the raging sea. Just as darkness threatens to consume all, a dragon's roar shakes the heavens. A colossal fire dragon descends, smashing through the shadow trees. The explosion illuminates the hooded man's stunned eyes. This is no ordinary flame. As the smoke clears, Xiao Yifeng stands tall, sword in hand. The hooded figures covet his top-grade immortal sword but sneer at his cultivation level. Humph. A mere chi refinement and holding a divine weapon is just asking to die. Before the words fade, the attack lands. The hooded man lunges from the sky, dagger gleaming. Xiao Yifeng sidesteps, countering instantly with a slash that sends a piercing beam of azure energy tearing through the air. But outnumbered, defenses crumble. Energy beams pierce Xiao Yifeng, drawing blood. The three hooded figures close in, mocking his injuries. Is this all you have? Daring to be arrogant before us? Hand over the sword, and you live. Facing the threat, Xiao Yifeng merely smirks. Who told you? I was alone. Instantly, a cataclysmic fire dragon spell erupts above the terrified enemies. Amidst roaring flames, Su Miaoqing descends like a goddess of fire. Sword raised high, she commands a massive vortex of infernal energy, crashing it down upon the enemy fleet with incinerating force. Disperse. With a fierce cry, the fireball detonates. A massive shockwave tears through the sea, swallowing warships in a deafening explosion of fire and splintering wood. Watching the fleet burn, the enemy commander screams in terror, eyes wide with panic. Kill the girl first, or we're all dead. Desperation spreads instantly through their ranks. The battle descends into chaos. A junior disciple is struck down, spitting blood. Angry roars mix with pained groans as everyone fights desperately for survival. The situation hangs by a thread. Rain pours relentlessly as three hooded assassins close in on Su Miaoqing. Stop her! Killing intent saturates the storm, focusing every attack on the girl who just unleashed hell. Senior sister, leave them to me. Xiao Yifeng steps forward, eyes steely. Su Miaoqing smiles with absolute trust. Okay, handle it. Suddenly, a spectral figure in green emerges with a rainbow halo, awakening a dormant power. Let's give them a big surprise. Xiao Yifeng smirks. The sword spirit transforms into a streak of light, syncing with his will to unleash a dazzling blade beam that tears through the night sky with devastating force. What is that? Facing the terrifying beam crashing down like a meteor, the three enemies freeze in terror. Screaming in desperation, they combine forces to erect a green energy shield, trying to block the fatal blow. Boom! The defense shatters instantly. The terrified survivors flee, abandoning their fleet to save their own skins. Meanwhile, Xiao Yifeng stares at the fading light in his hand, stunned by the spirit's power. That was absurdly powerful. The battle ends. Amidst the wreckage, surviving enemies kneel in surrender. Xiao Yifeng and Su Miaoqing sheath their weapons and descend to the deck. A noble in fine robes rushes forward, bowing deeply in gratitude. Thank you both for saving our lives. Aren't I awesome? Just as Su Miaoqing boasts, the blue-haired princess begins to tremble violently, frost forming on her brow. Attendants panic, screaming for stoves and blankets, shattering the moment of victory. It is a strange illness. Her body turns ice cold. Listening to the elder's explanation, Xiao Yifeng looks thoughtful. He steps forward, gently taking the princess's freezing wrist, a flicker of surprise in his eyes. Ice-cold syndrome. A gentle green glow emanates from his palm as Xiao Yifeng probes her condition with spiritual energy. Feeling the strange chill, he furrows his brow, while the anxious elder watches him as their only ray of hope. Xiao Yifeng's expression hardens as the glowing light reveals the diagnosis, the same innate ice meridian that afflicts his wife. His heart tightens as he immediately drafts a prescription to alleviate the pain. With eyes shining with determination, the woman makes a solemn vow in gratitude. Should the celestial dragon kingdom ever rise to glory again, she pledges her life to serve her benefactor until death. The vow triggers buried memories, the war-torn deck, twisted smiles, and the terrifying black serpent. Scenes of despair and falling into the sea flood his mind, tragic and heavy. 5 days later, the scene shifts to the bustling markets of the Yuanhai kingdom. Sunlight bathes the crowded streets as Xiao Yifeng and Su Miaoqing stroll through, seemingly casual but with a hidden purpose. Leaving the noisy market behind, they head straight for the magnificent palace. Su Miaoqing is curious about this sudden errand, while a knowing look flashes through Xiao Yifeng's eyes. Memories from half a month ago surface. Princess Lian, you solemnly entrusting a letter with a meaningful warning. Aside from the queen, the rest of the royals are not worth befriending. Should they offend, he is free to teach them a lesson. Before the forbidden palace grounds, 2 giant axes block their path, glinting coldly. Xiao Yifeng remains unmoved, calmly revealing the ancient token of royal authority, instantly stunning the guards. The guard's attitude does a complete 180, respectfully summoning a guide. It turns out the humble sect servant is a princess here, a stark contrast in status that leaves Su Miaoqing in awe. Walking through the deep palace courtyards, Su Miaoqing keenly senses the eerie lack of yang energy in the men around them. Under her questioning, the guide sweats profusely and stammers, filling the air with unease. Stepping into the magnificent main hall, officials stand in solemn rows as countless gazes lock onto them. Though they bow respectfully, the whispers around them are filled less with reverence and more with scrutiny and suspicion. Upon the high dais, the lecherous emperor immediately fixates on Su Miaoqing's beauty, making no effort to hide the greed and possessiveness in his eyes, ignoring his concubine's attempts to caution him. Learning they are friends with the servant, the emperor's attitude turns dismissive. Leaning back on his throne, he smirks mockingly, convinced the 2 before him are mere low-ranking outer disciples. Facing the disdain of royal power, Xiao Yifeng's eyes are cold as ice. He doesn't bother explaining, simply handing over the letter indifferently, his attitude radiating a disregard for secular authority. The queen wearily takes the letter and dismisses them. Meanwhile, in the corners of the hall, nobles corrupted by desire, Su Miaoqing lewdly, their malicious whispers breeding in the shadows. Tension in the hall reaches a breaking point. Facing their rude interrogation, Su Miaoqing's patience finally snaps, anger igniting in her sharp gaze. A seductive woman in purple shamelessly suggests dual cultivation, while a man beside her mocks Xiao Yifeng. This naked insult thoroughly enrages Su Miaoqing. Her fists clench in uncontrollable fury. Suddenly, a loud crash breaks the standoff. A prince bursts through the wall like a wild beast. Amidst flying debris and terrified screams, the scene descends into instant chaos. The so-called imperial immortal finally steps in, relying on his golden core cultivation to arrogantly claim Su Miaoqing as a concubine. Xiao Yifeng sneers, looking at this oblivious fool as if he were already dead. Xiao Yifeng's patience snaps. Golden flames erupt from his palm, revealing the sky token, and a terrifying pressure instantly silences the insolent hall. With the massive golden token looming behind him, Xiao Yifeng stands like a judge. His voice is calm but bone-chilling. Does Yuan Hai Kingdom seek destruction? Leaving the official trembling in terror. The foolish prince screams for blood, eyes burning with arrogance. But in a flash, a talisman cuts through the air, sealing his mouth and choking back his threats. The once proud official now bows and scrapes, sweating as he makes excuses. Xiao Yifeng watches the farce coldly, his gaze cutting like a knife toward the manipulative concubine. Desperate to survive, the emperor instantly betrays his lover. Her panic shifts to pure disdain. Dropping the act, she mocks his incompetence and unleashes a sinister purple fog. Chaos erupts as purple smoke fills the hall. The demoness shoots into the sky with a parting threat, while the guards who inhaled the mist twist in agony, roaring like beasts.